Well, to all the 17s watching us around the world, it's very unusual when we can say good morning and welcome to the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. This is, I think, about as early as we've ever had to do one of these, Jason, as Atlanta United gets set to play FC Cincinnati at the MLS's back tournament. And again, we are at our home for the tournament here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium using the MLS Cup for social distancing once again. We think this is going to be a really fun morning. We're glad you're up with us early. Go put a pot of coffee on because we've got a lot to get to here on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. The scene in Orlando at the ESPN Wide World of Sports, and our scene setter brought to you by Kaiser Permanente. We know it's going to be warm. We know it's going to be humid. We've seen, Jason, in these 9 a.m. matches that the heat and humidity of Central Florida can be a factor, especially as it gets late. It looks like it's another warm, sunny day today in Orlando.
We've seen some chaos early in matches. We've seen some chaos late in matches. These early games, it's all about establishing a rhythm, but as we saw from Toronto and D.C., you cannot let up if you get an early lead.
They use 3 different pitches at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex, and today Atlanta United playing on the morning pitch, which was selected because of optimal light for television, but you see all the kits have been laid out in the temporary dressing room, and that's the scene set down at Walt Disney World. Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati. Even Chris and Darren making it into the scene center package today. And we are excited. We think this is going to be a really good opportunity for Atlanta United to earn 3 points. They may very well need 3 points today to advance to the knockout round. Moments Ahead brought to you by Equifax. I think the key today, Jason, is that Atlanta United's got to replicate what Columbus did against Cincinnati on Saturday night.
Cincinnati looked good early on against Columbus, and it all changed very, very quickly. Cincinnati has speed out wide, and we can see them get in behind. We've seen them play Atlanta where they have sat back and defended deep. But once they gave up that free kick goal from Lucas Zelarayan, they started to get picked apart. The spacing in the back line. You'll notice Jossie Zardes here in between the gap of Kendall Waston and Saad Abdul Salam, the right back. That became frequent during this match. That plays to Atlanta's strengths. You have forwards who like to create movement and not necessarily pop up in the middle of the field, but off to the side and make those delayed runs. Columbus used that to perfection against Cincinnati Saturday night.
And on the other hand, as far as Columbus defending is concerned, it does help when Jurgen Locadia is out for Cincinnati. But there again, another example of Jossie Zardes just basically splitting the defense on a run and getting an easy goal.
Same channel. And here it is again, running from the outside in. Pity Martinez loves to make that run. Ezequiel Barco loves to make that run. And when you have the wing backs for Atlanta who can get forward like Columbus's outside backs, they can create problems. Cincinnati struggled with the movement off the ball.
So Columbus putting 4 goals on Cincinnati Saturday night, and Atlanta United would like to score some goals as well. They need that for. Well, to all the 17s watching us around the world, it's very unusual when we can say all right, let's go down to Walt Disney World. Darren Eales, Atlanta United president, is standing by. And, Darren, I think the biggest question on all of our minds this morning among the 17s, did the team go to a character breakfast or was it something other than Mickey and Pluto serving waffles this morning?
Morning, Mike. Yeah, we didn't get Goofy and his gang there. It's crazy, really, because, we're having a team meal at 6 o'clock in the morning, and some of the lads, Pitty loves his chicken and rice, so that's pretty weird, but they're having their usual pre-match routine at a crazy time in the morning. So these are unusual times. We know this is an unusual tournament, and it's the same for both sides.
We've been watching some of these early 9 a.m. matches, and it does seem like the heat really does become a factor in the second half. So from your standpoint, how much of a concern is that for this morning? I know the team's been working very hard training at early hours, but it still is hard to replicate in a game, isn't it?
Yeah, look, you're right, Mike. I think the reality is that we both sides know what it's going to be. So we've been training, as you say, at similar times for the last few days. It was really hot yesterday in training, so I think the lads got a sense of how hot it's going to be today. But I think, for us, that means, if we can keep the ball and dominate the game, that obviously would give us an advantage. And then it'll be a game, I think, where the changes from the bench are going to be important too. So the ability to have some fresh legs for that last 30 minutes, I think, could be important this morning.
I think the other thing we've seen in these games, especially the early ones, has been those emotional swings in the match are maybe a little exaggerated right now. What was the reaction from the guys after the result from Saturday, and what do you think the mood is going into this morning?
The reaction, it was obviously a disappointing result for us on the weekend. I think, performance-wise, apart from, that sort of switching off for that first goal, I thought that, the team played well. And I think, it's been good and encouraging to see the sort of attitude of the players. They've been really up for it in training, and I think they want to set the record straight this morning. So, I'm hopeful that we can come out all guns blazing in this game. We know that it's an important one now. We can't have any more slip-ups. So, I've been impressed with the attitude of the team, but the reality is we've got to do it now out on the pitch in the match, and I'm really hoping that the team can do that and show our fans what we're about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Darren. I know you can't control what everyone else in the group is doing, but it sure looks like 3 points could be enough to get you into the knockout round. 4 points looks like it definitely would get you into the knockout round. So do you and the club kind of look at this as almost a must-win type of match this morning?
Yeah, Mike, I think it is. I mean, we talk about sometimes the pressures on us as a club, where we're expected to win every match that we go into, and I think that was the disappointment of the game against Red Bulls, that we didn't even, if we'd have got a point out of that, then obviously we'd have been pretty well set going into this game. Now, as you say, if we could get a win, given the way that Group A's already gone, we would be sort of feeling like that was halfway into qualifying into the knockout stages. So, I think it is a big match, and I think, this is a game that, let's be honest about it, we expect to win it, so we've got to go out there and put a performance in.
Since we talked to you guys last on Saturday, this tournament's really picked up with some wild results, some wild moments in matches. What's been your overall take on the level down in Orlando?
I think it's been good. I think the first couple of games were pretty cautious. Similar, I think, to when you look at what happened. I think right from that moment when DC United were down to 10 men against Toronto 2-0 at half-time and somehow pulled that back. So I do think now it's become what we'd hoped as a tournament. It's, you've got matches every day. There is, you can see the competitiveness on the pitch. This does matter to the players and to the clubs. And, we're seeing some great goals and exciting matches. And I hope that we can, carry that trend on today, and perhaps not quite as harem-scarum as the game last night, but settle a nice, comfortable 3-0 win.
All right, Darren, enjoy the rest of your breakfast. We don't want to keep you from getting to the venue. So thanks so much for joining us this morning, and go get us 3 points, please. All right, well, the good news, as far as the injury report brought to you by Children's Healthcare of Atlanta is concerned, is that it's empty once again. Everyone is healthy and available for selection today. We did get a little bit of a surprise before the match Saturday night when we saw Ezequiel Barco was not in the starting 11, but he did come on and played 30 minutes. And if he was hurt in that match, it certainly didn't appear to be the case.
No, he looked good in his 30-plus minutes in this one, and you need as many minutes as you can get out of Ezequiel Barco. The attack flowed much better with Barquito in the team, and you started to see him drop deep as well to help deal with the Red Bulls' pressure. He helped a lot in that transition play from the back to the front for Atlanta, and you just need that creativity. You need his quality on the ball to take some of the pressure off of Pity Martinez, to take some of the pressure off of this Atlanta midfield.
The only other, I guess, very minor injury that we're aware of is Manuel Castro said he was checked out by a venue doctor after the match on Saturday, concerned about a possible head injury. He was cleared. So Atlanta United, compared to other teams, and especially compared to their opponent today, which has a very lengthy injury list in Cincinnati, in very, very good shape heading into their second group stage game today.
Ezequiel Barco's return today will be really important, and you don't know how long he's going to be able to go. 90 minutes would be a big ask, But if Ezequiel Barco can come in and give you moments like this where that movement and creating disorganization among Cincinnati's defense, Columbus exploited it. You'd like to see Atlanta exploit it this morning.
So that is the injury report brought to you by Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Ezequiel Barco good to go, and we'll see in a moment if he is in the starting lineup when we get to that point of the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff. Tools to the match now brought to you by the Home Depot. Transition in the attack and defending going to be very, very key for Atlanta United today, Jason.
It was something that was not sharp early on Saturday night. The Red Bulls exploited it, but this is the sequence prior to that goal. And it's a pretty good opportunity where Atlanta gets players forward. Ball moves from the left to the right. Brooks Lennon involved. You start to see Franco Escobar step up here as well. This is where the breakdown started and the transition back to defense didn't happen. But Atlanta on the ball was pretty good in their transition moments, and especially spraying the ball out wide. Long passing was a key for Atlanta on Saturday night, and they completed those long passes over 30 yards at a clip that we're not used to seeing against the Red Bulls. They were able to break the Red Bulls' pressure and switch the point of attack consistently. Now, once you do that, you have to create the opportunities, and you have to finish the opportunities. But Atlanta did a lot in this game in the transition from defense to attack. But as we saw in that first goal that they gave up in the tournament, it was the transition the other way that they struggled with.
Another example here of trying to turn a moment of transition into an attack for Atlanta United, and this produced the best chance of the first half for George Bello.
Yeah, it's so quick from Pity Martinez and the overlapping run from Bello to create that opportunity. That's where Atlanta thrives. The combination play in moments like this where you're able to get out of the defensive third, into the middle third, and into the final third very, very quickly. Cincinnati struggles with teams who can play fast, and the faster Atlanta can transition going forward, and a lot of that's going to start with Brad Gazan. Those throws were exceptional on Saturday night. The faster Atlanta can do that against Cincinnati, the more chances they'll create today.
This, in fact, does seem to be one of the Atlanta United hallmarks, isn't it? Transition off a set piece, and we saw that a couple times on Saturday night and here at the very end with Pity Martinez trying to get something going in transition. So that'll be one of the big tools to the match today, brought to you by Home Depot, transition attacking and defending for Atlanta United. Now, Frank DeBoer suggested the other day that he would make some lineup changes based on who had to put in the most work rate in the heat and humidity Saturday night. That feels like wingbacks, and that feels like Jake Mulroney might get an opportunity to bring the energy in today's match, and it's brought to you by Georgia Power.
Jake Mulroney brought that energy off the bench on Saturday night. Comes on in the 71st minute, and you see him get involved immediately. Defensively, we know he can give you that, but he got involved in the attack as well, and Mulroney's speed is a huge problem for most teams in Major League Soccer.
Hopefully it will be a problem for Cincinnati as well, but you see him digging for a 50-50 ball and earning a foul, and Mulroney was called for a few fouls himself on Saturday night, but he was a part of a good scoring – there's an example of one of those fouls, but he was a part of a good scoring opportunity late in this match that kind of turned out to be a fluky play, but ended up almost equalizing the match very, very late. So Mulroney, I think the one thing you like about him is that he's able to dig for those 50-50 balls and really make himself a pest to the opposition.
Yeah, it's movement there. I mean, he's covering so much ground. He's so vital in helping this team in those transition moments we've talked about. Mulroney is not just a speedster, though. He's scrappy. He doesn't give up on plays like this one. Tim Parker with a misplay, and that's a really quick reaction from Jake Mulroney. We weren't sure how much he really knew about this, but he gets a good chance off from just a simple misplay.
So Jake Mulroney, we hope he'll be bringing the energy today, brought to you by Georgia Power. But the wingbacks are going to be a big topic of discussion here on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff, because when we look at the players to watch, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, let's start with Brooks Lennon of Atlanta United, who I thought may have been one of Atlanta United's best players on Saturday.
I would totally agree with that. Brooks Lennon comes into this team this season, and he gives you some different elements at wingback. He's a strong defender. 3 tackles on the night on Saturday, an interception. He won 3 balls out of the air, but he was also heavily involved in all facets of the attacking play. 74 touches. He passed at 86%. He created 2 opportunities. His long passing was strong. And the element that Lennon gives you that maybe this team hasn't had it at a wingback on the right side is moments like that, the dribble. Brooks Lennon is exceptional in 1v1 opportunities, and that's where you can break down a team. Cincinnati's probably going to sit fairly deep at times today. Brooks Lennon will be able to go 1v1 with defenders, beat them, and put in a good cross to create an opportunity.
And when you look at the amount of usage that Brooks has gotten in these first 3 league matches, not to mention in the Concacaf Champions League, it's become quite clear that he has earned the trust of Frank DeBoer. So Brooks Lennon, our player to watch for Atlanta United. For Cincinnati, let's talk about Alan Cruz, Jason.
Alan Cruz, not 100% on the weekend, did not start for Cincinnati, and they really missed him in the midfield. He's a number 8, a box-to-box midfielder who can do a little bit of everything. He has a nice scoring touch, 7 goals last season in his first year in MLS, Costa Rican international. He gets into the 18 for chances. I mean, a play like this looks more like a poacher and a poacher's kind of finish. It's not what you typically see out of a box-to-box midfielder. But what he can also do is create opportunities for others, and he helps defensively. And when you look at Cincinnati's midfield, a player like Alan Cruz becomes essential because you have players who are strong on the ball but don't have a whole lot of pace, don't cover a lot of ground. Cruz is vital for Cincinnati's midfield to truly work and be in sync.
If he gets an open look like that at the penalty spot today, I'm going to be very, very nervous. That was not excellent defending by Orlando by any stretch. That was from decision day last year. But Cincinnati is not very healthy, and they could be fielding as close to a second-choice lineup as you can imagine because of those injuries. So Cruz being one of those first-choice players, one is to believe he would be a focal point in the Cincinnati attack today.
He's important because he can support a team that really doesn't have a lot of options up top, scoring goals from the midfield. But I think more importantly, it's that total game that he gives you in the midfield. He can support a player like Harris Medunjanin. He can support a player like Siem de Jong, who just don't cover much ground. Cruz can do the running for them, and he can finish chances too.
So Alan Cruz for Cincinnati, Brooks Lennon for Atlanta United. Those are your players to watch, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Okay, starting lineups now. We know you've been waiting for this here in the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff, and there are 5 changes in the starting lineup today for Atlanta United. The lineup brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Hard to think of Barco as one of those rotations because he was injured on Saturday, but you see Adam John go in there now. We've talked about Mulroney, and big changes in the holding midfield as well, Jason.
Yeah, it looks like a 3-4-3, the same shape we saw on the weekend. 3 center backs are the same, Franco Escobar, Miles Robinson, Fernando Meza. Wing backs, Brooks Lennon keeps his spot. Jake Mulroney comes into the starting lineup on the basis of that good performance in the second half on Saturday. Jeff Larentowicz, Eric Remedi, who came on late on Saturday, they get to start in the holding midfield. Barco's able to start. We'll see how long he can go today. And Adam John made everything click up top. He's more of a traditional number 9. He had that great opportunity late. I think he just gives this attack a focal point to revolve around.
And the last time these teams met, and it feels like a long time ago, the first weekend of March here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Adam John was in the starting lineup for Atlanta United when they defeated Cincinnati 2-0. They got goals from Heineken and Barco in that match. Heineken goes to the bench today because he did a lot of running Saturday night in Orlando. So, look, this is kind of a must-win. Darren talked about it. Atlanta United not currently in an advancing position as the third-place team in Group E, but out of the top 4 of the third-place teams. Not only do you need to win today, you really need to find goals because those tiebreakers could come into effect possibly.
Yeah, you have 6 points left on the table, and as we've seen looking back at tournaments with this kind of structure, usually you need 4 points to guarantee a spot in the next round. The way the games have gone here, 3 points might be enough, but you don't want to leave it to that final match, and you don't want to have to hope for other results. Atlanta United needs to take care of business tonight, build on what they did in Game 1, convert the chances, and don't switch off defensively in those transition moments.
All right, time for some bacon, some eggs, some coffee, and some five stripes. Atlanta United and Cincinnati. Kickoff 9 a.m. on ESPN and 92.9 The Game if you'd like to listen to Jason and I. And we will be back here on the Atlanta United Facebook page after the match for the AT&T postgame report. Atlanta United and Cincinnati. Let's go get 3 points, and we'll see you after the match. Thanks for joining us on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff.